welcome back to Bookish.Taylor. I am Taylor. I'm sorry that it's a little dark. I don't have my overhead light on. I just have my one window and my little bitty light here. I realized that I had filmed my TBR yesterday, but I haven't filmed my wrap-up yet, and I can't post my TBR without a wrap-up. So we are going to go ahead and get into my April 2018 wrap-up. So let's go ahead and dive on in. I ended up only reading about 8 books. I'm not really sure what happened. I guess I kind of just hit like a little bit of a reading wall, and that's totally fine. You know, it happens. But I did end up completing a trilogy this month. So the first book that I picked up was Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. This was a reread. I had read this previously with the original hardback cover of The Girl. I had picked it up from my library and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. But for some reason, I feel like it was a completely different story. Like, I don't remember anything that had happened. Like, I had completely forgotten about Adam and about that whole storyline. So I'm really glad that I picked this up and reread it before I went into the next one, because I would have been so lost. But this follows I believe she's 16 or 17-year-old girl by the name of Juliet. She has been put in an insane asylum by her family because if she touches somebody, they die. So they put her in an asylum and she ends up meeting this boy by the name of Adam. And their story just goes from there. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I gave this like a 4 out of 5. And I know that when I first read it, I gave it a 5 out of 5 and absolutely loved it. But upon rereading it, it's just a 4. And then after finishing that, I went ahead and I picked up Unravel Me, which is book number 2 in the original Shatter Me trilogy. I don't think I loved this one as much. I did really enjoy later on when Warner came back in the picture. I think Warner is one of my favorite characters, so this centered more around Juliet and Adam, so I think that's why I didn't really enjoy it, and I didn't really want to really pick it up and read it until Warner was back. So yeah, that was a thing, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 as well. So after finishing that, there was a buddy read hosted by Julie from Pages and Pens, and that was to read The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This is a story about a town where 3 sisters were killed and they were accused of witchcraft and they were murdered. Here's the naked book. It's absolutely gorgeous. But they were accused of witchcraft and drowned. And so I believe it had been for the past like 200 years since they were killed. Every summer they come and they take a body. Each sister takes a body of another teenage girl. And it just goes from there. It follows a young girl by the name of Penny and her new love interest, Bo, and it was really good. It's very atmospheric, but I just didn't really connect with it the way that I thought I would. There is a plot twist that I totally saw coming. I kind of like to be a little more blindsided by things and not be able to predict how it's gonna go, but it is a completely, it's atmospheric. It is beautiful, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I gave this a 3.75 out of 5. So I had picked up Daughter of a Burning City by Amanda Forde in March. I think it was like March 30th that I picked this up, and I finally got around to finishing it. I picked up the audiobook. For me, it's a world that is better listened to because I'm able to immerse myself more, because her writing, it's beautiful, but you miss something and you're just lost. So I had found myself kind of falling behind and having to reread things and just not quite latching on. And that's totally a me thing. Like, that happens sometimes. So I picked up the audiobook, and the audiobook was fantastic. I flew through the audiobook, and I'm really glad I did because I love this story. And Amanda Forde is now one of my favorite authors. I will definitely buy anything that she puts out because holy crap, her writing is amazing. So I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5. Next, I picked up another reread, and that is Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. I read this way before I even knew BookTube was a thing. I think I had seen it at a Barnes & Noble and was very intrigued. I knew that Fallen Angels was a thing for me, and then I picked this up and was not let down. I really enjoyed this the first time I read it. I enjoyed it just as much the second time. It follows a young girl by the name of Nora, and she is a high school student, and there is a new transfer by the name of Patch, and he's this dark, mysterious guy who's really super into her. So she keeps getting attacked and being stalked by this person, and she's trying to decide who it is and if this person is good or bad. It's a very quick read, and it's really, really good. And it's an older novel. It was like 2009 when this was originally released, so it's older. It's obviously gonna have some problems, but I loved this. I thought it was so good, and I cannot wait to continue with the quartet and to finish it, because holy cow. So after finishing that, I was in a little bit of like a I don't know what to pick up kind of mood. So I ended up going with Unite Me. This is the novella bind-ups of Destroy Me, Fracture Me, as well as some of Juliet's journals. And I have to say, this as a whole, I think got like a 3. But Destroy Me, which is Warner's novella that takes place between Shatter Me and Unravel Me, was a 5 out of 5. I absolutely freaking loved Destroy Me. It was so good, and it gave you such an insight into Warner that I did not expect. Fracture Me takes place between Unravel Me and Ignite Me, and that is Adam's novella, and that got a 2. I'm not a fan of Adam, so the sooner I got through that, the better. And then Juliet's journals were just beautiful. It gave you an insight into her mind and what she was writing while she was in the asylum. And it's very painful, but completely beautiful. So this ended up with a 3 out of 5 as a total. And then after finishing that, there was another buddy read that Julie was hosting with Amanda from A Court of Books and Love, and that was Bad Romance by Heather Demetrios. This follows a young girl by the name of Grace in her junior year. She is a production, like she's wanting to go into production. She absolutely loves stage and theater, and she enjoys being a stage manager. So she's just going through the musical in her junior year, and the guy that every girl wants in school is single again, and he has his eye on Grace. And it turns out that Grace and his name is Gavin have this insanely volatile relationship, and it also follows Grace's home life with her OCD mother and her really kind of shitty stepdad as well. So it's just a complete heart-wrenching story. I gave this a 4 out of 5. It hit almost too close to home for me, but know that there are a lot of relationship abuse trigger warnings, and if you want to pick this up and you think you can handle the subject matter, pick it up, because it is so good and very eye-opening as well. And then the final book that I read in April is Ignite Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the third and final book in the original Shatter Me trilogy. Holy cow, I loved this so much. I'm not going to go into it because it's the third book, but I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. I loved this so much, and it was the perfect ending to the original trilogy. I will say I knocked 0.5 off because that actual ending was left a lot to be desired, but it was so beautifully written. This is definitely my favorite of the 3 that I have read, and I'm not going to be picking up Restore Me, so I have to keep trying to avoid spoilers and all of that. But I really enjoyed this trilogy, and I'm really glad that I picked it up and I read it and I have completed it, because it's really good. If you haven't picked up Shatter Me and you have kind of been feeling like you want to, do it, because by the time you get to this, it is so worth it. So those are the 8 books that I read in the month of April and the ratings that I gave them. What was your favorite book that you read in April? I think my favorite was definitely a mixture of A Daughter of a Burning City, Ignite Me, I really loved Destroy Me, and I really resonated with Bad Romance. So I think those 4 are definitely the highlights of my month. So what was your favorite book that you read in April? Let me know down in the comments, and I can't wait to see what your favorite pick was. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye!